Order and once again, welcome. Good thing. And over this our July meeting, we have to start with our opening prayer. We give thanks for the contribution by pioneers, early settlers, and for those who fought in the various wars for the fabric of the Tenterfield community we have today. May the words of our mouths and the meditation of our hearts be accepted in thy sight, O Lord. Amen. Guides in the country, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land who are meeting on today. I'd also like to pay respect to the elders both past and present of the Yuckabull, Kamilaroi, and Marginal nations, and extend their respect to other Aboriginal people present. Councillors' apologies, we have two apologies by the Petrie clan, by Councillor Michael Petrie and Councillor Robert Petrie. Could I have a move, please? Councillor Forbes, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Sawyer, and I thank you. All in favour? Against, carried, thank you. Setting disclosures or declarations of interest, councillors, to do with items we're dealing with today. No? Thank you. Councillors, the minutes of our previous meeting in June, would someone who was in attendance like to move that they are a correct and true record of that meeting? Councillor Murray, I thank you. Second by Councillor Grogan, and I thank you. All in favour? Again, carried. Councillors, no tabling of documents, urgent, late and supplementary items of business? No? Community consultation. Councillors, we do have two of our staff to do presentations, and first is Erica Bursford. Erica is the Manager of Customs Services and Governance Records. Please stand and welcome Erica to our meeting, please. Thank you, councillors. Welcome, Erica.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Usually when we do community with our community consultation, I give people 5 minutes. You take your time. Thank you, very important.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, councillors, and good morning, people in the public gallery. So, in the corporate and governance report that you receive in the monthly operational plan report, we cover the service areas of customer service, governance, and records management, or records as it is in my title. Each month we go through the statutory responsibilities of our reporting requirements in the governance area, and if you want to look at the actual report for this month, it's page 42 of your attachment number 1. So generally speaking, with our statutory reporting, we have this at the front of the report every month. We do have requirements to report against government information public access statistics, so that's the provision of information to the public when they request it formally through the GEPA processes. Previously, against an operational plan, this was a quarterly report to council, but GEPA in itself is reported 6 monthly. So what we have been doing is advising you that it is reported to GEPA. It is actually reported every February and every August. And what we will be doing is making sure that every 6 months we'll be providing those statistics, as we have done in February this year. In the same light, the quarterly progress reports to the executive are updated as and when we provide our statutory reporting. So again, in the next operational plan and our reporting, we will be reflecting a more immediate reporting structure than what has been in place for the 17-18 financial year. We also look after the Audit and Risk Committee, and in that role we provide support and guidance to the committee in terms of the audit practices, and my colleague, the Manager of Finance and Technology, provides that guidance to the Audit and Risk Committee, and Kylie and myself provide guidance on the internal audit process, as well as providing administrative support and management to the committee. The minutes of the meeting of 21 June have been provided in your reports. There is a report later in the meeting that covers the items that were discussed. We provide a legal report each month, and as you'll see, we have still got 2 ongoing legal actions, but we have no new legal actions with Council. With customer service, we like to report what is occurring with our customer base. In June, we had 3 compliments and 8 complaints. Now, these statistics are not about a simple thank you or a simple complaint about a particular road or a particular service that hasn't occurred. These are more complex complaints where a customer feels that they have not had a situation or an issue addressed appropriately, and so it has escalated, and it is a complaint to council. And this is where it's different to our general customer service inquiries that we report on, as well in the statistics box further in my report. So we suspect that we've had a lower number of complaints for the month of June because it is coming up to the end of the financial year. A lot of people are particularly busy. They're preparing for school holidays, and we can see that later on in the report with the statistics. We also look at customer service engagement and where we can improve our customer service. We have actually completed the customer satisfaction survey for 2018, which the councillors received at the workshop a couple of weeks ago. We are now going to be moving forward with the results from that survey throughout the organisation, identifying where we can actually create some enhancement and improve on some of the service areas where possible. As you may well have seen in the reports that we provided to you, a lot of the inquiries we get from customers are around the usual suspects. And the highest levels were around roads, rates and rubbish and waste. So again, there are some things that we can improve in terms of our response to their queries. There are some things we can't fix as an organisation immediately, as the Chief Executive has alluded to earlier. There are some things that are going to take a long time, but enhancing how we manage the customer's expectation is what we are going to be doing with the results of this survey. Further in the report, we also have a look at where we are working with our risk management processes, and this area falls within the Work Health and Safety Officer's accountabilities and the Manager Human Resources and Workforce Development, but it also sits within governance because of our requirement to make sure that we are identifying where risks sit as an organisation, how we actually identify what's the probability of those risks occurring, and the likelihood and how we would deal with it. So in previous months you have seen reporting regarding the completion of the business continuity plan and the exercise that was undertaken by council staff a few months ago. You have also had the risk training not long ago, so developing and identifying what sort of risk atmosphere is appropriate for council. So we provide that report within the governance report each month. With records management, we are moving forward with the records digitisation program. There are federal and state pushes for all hard copy records where possible should be digitised, so electronically stored and scanned, so scanned and stored, unless they are of an historical nature, and that is any record before 1980. So at the moment, the records team is going through the holding of paper that is still in our archive room at the back of this building, but also assessing our ability to hold records at the off-site storage space, which is at the depot. We have been in contact with State Records, and they've identified to us we can move quite a lot of those documents down there to Sydney. We are also looking at moving a large number of the historic rates books for their protection and conservation to another council that provides a professional service where they will actually scan those records and provide them to us electronically when we require them. So it's a much more efficient system of storing them than we currently have at the moment. At the moment, we have them stored in our area at the back of this building. There is a level of climate control, but again, not appropriate for long-term storage of documents that are over 100 years old. So if we have a quick look then at the statistics that we've included for June, and page 47 And these statistics we've started providing you on a monthly basis so that we can see what's actually happening with our customer service inquiries and our ability to address those in a timely manner. And so the first graph I've given you is that's for the financial year 2017-18. And what we have actually been able to see is with our received general inquiries, there is a similar response with our completed ones in the orange. We see there are peaks and troughs around certain months, and we've aligned those with rates and water payment deadlines. So we appear to receive a higher level of inquiries, whether or not those are complaints. We seem to experience these peaks around certain key dates in the council calendar. We see a natural drop-off as well around that Christmas period, and then around end of financial year, we had an interesting outcome here where we've actually had a plateauing of general inquiries, but our ability to close them off as quickly as we normally would and deal with them has slowed down. And as we've seen from December through to June, we can actually note that we had other activities taking place. So we had the restructure of the organisation in February around the new accountabilities, and we were still dealing with general service inquiries, customer service inquiries, but our ability to deal with that and then also move to other levels of reporting shows that there has been an impact around how we are able to then deal with the customers' inquiries. Next to that statistic, I have given you the statistics for June, and again, you can see there where it shows exactly what it shows in the previous graph. And that is at the end of financial year, it's pretty much all hands to deck to complete what is required for end of financial year reporting. And the statistics on the customer complaints and compliments is provided also to you each month. So if councillors have any questions?
Councillors, is there any questions to Erica to do with her presentation? To Trinity? No? Erica, thank you very much. It's always good to have our staff present to our council and keeps us informed, as your report did, so thank you very, very much. Councillors, we move on to our next presentation. Before I do need to welcome our new staff member, property specialist, Jenny Donadell, sitting in the office, and welcome, Jen, to your first meeting. I know today will change your life for the rest of your life, witnessing our council meeting and the riveting debate we have, but welcome and I wish you well in your position.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, councillors, next in the public access session is Mr. Paul Della, Paul's the Manager of Finance and Technology. As always, welcome, please. Paul, and stand and welcome to our chamber. Thank you, councillors. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, councillors. Thank you to the public present too. Yes, I'm here to talk about the finance and the technology section of the monthly operational report, and page 34 is where that starts in that same document that my colleague Erica was speaking to.
Thank you, Paul.
Ensuring that information technology meets Council's operational requirements is the first area discussed under the finance and technology section of the report. And basically it encompasses strategic planning, managed IT services, and replacing and upgrading technology. It would be a fair assessment to say that since I commenced in April, this side of my role has taken up quite a considerable amount of time for a managed service, with the need to put out a number of fires around the system being slow at times. Sometimes the site has gone down, and generally there's been a risk to council both in terms of productivity and operations. For example, there was an outage a couple of weeks ago on a Monday, which is the day of the sale of the sale yards, which if we hadn't fixed in time would have caused significant issues. Luckily it was fixed in time, but there's some things around that we need to manage. So it's been a very busy time, and against that backdrop, I can take this opportunity to advise that Side Effect, Council's managed service provider, decided last week to resign in providing our managed service for our IT systems. And some of you may know Michael Turlick, who's had an association with council for some 22 years. And I'd like to take this opportunity to publicly thank Michael for his service over that period, and place on record my appreciation to him and the team for the assistance they provided, particularly to me since I started in council a few months back. I can further advise that council have engaged Roberts and Murray Technology RMT to conduct a review of our IT environment and to assist in the transition from Side Effect. And RMT are a local government procurement approved provider of IT services, and I expect the transition to be an orderly one, and RMT and Side Effect have already exchanged some correspondence, and Michael will be providing them with relevant information on our systems and documentation and so forth. There's a period of probably 60 days at least that Michael and Side Effect will still be providing services to us, and that's negotiable. So, as I say, it will be an orderly transition, and I don't foresee any problems there. And once the review is undertaken by RMT, this will assist in the development of an IT strategic plan. Having said all that, council is making some good progress in the area, with some new computers being rolled out throughout the organisation. Some are considerably years old, and so they've been replaced, and appropriate software being purchased to support staff to undertake their duties. And recently the library has received some new public computers, so they're once again at their full complement, which is very important. Today, in fact, a new access point is being installed at Council's Tenterfield Waste Facility, which will give backside linkage to our servers here. And this will not only improve productivity, but also provide a backup to Council's existing access point, so as to provide a backup in case things go down for some reason, as it did mention the other week. One of the issues we addressed recently was to provide more solar power to the existing access point, because with the overcast days it wasn't receiving enough power, so we've sorted that issue out. And we'll be connecting it to AC power soon too, so we'll have a number of contingencies in place. I'd also like to point out that Council met with the representatives of the State Audit Office yesterday, and one of the issues high on their agenda was information technology, particularly around risk management of system access and ensuring appropriate audit controls are in place. Council often receives alerts about phishing, that's PHIS, not phishing, phishing scams, and it's important that we have appropriate security in place to protect our data. And recently I sent out an email to all staff asking them to make sure that their passwords were of sufficient quality to avoid any intrusion. And the minimum standard set by the State Audit Office is 10 characters in length, with at least one number, one uppercase, lowercase, and a special character. In terms of the financial side of my team's role, I mentioned in my report the focus on debtors and some of the success we've had in that area over the past couple of months in reducing the level of our outstanding debt greater than 90 days. And obviously preparing for the audit is now a key undertaking at the moment, hence the meeting yesterday with representatives from the Audit Office. And Amelia was also involved in that meeting, and so it's good to build those relationships between the Audit Office, our auditors and ourselves. As a result of that meeting yesterday, I can advise on a particular issue, the Rural Fire Service asset issue, that once again councils are free to determine how they treat them. This year, there's been no real decision made, no real clarity on it, so the situation is really the same as last year with regards to Rural Fire Service assets. Other key things that Finance is working on at the moment include our power budgeting tool. So we're implementing a new budgeting tool which will assist to facilitate our budgeting process, give some of the managers more responsibility in that area. And it will also help to automate some of the information that's produced for the monthly operational report in terms of the graphs that appear there. They all have to be done manually at the moment, and with Power Budget implemented, press of a button and it'll be able to produce some of those graphs and information for us. As I say, the audit's currently being undertaken, so within the next month or two, we should have a draft set of financial statements ready, and the aim is to bring that to the September council meeting. I'm not expecting any surprises there in terms of our financial result. But once again, it's important to stress that council does need to focus on our own source of revenue. It's still very important, and ensuring that we don't have that cross-subsidisation between any of our other funds and the general fund. So some important things there. Our long-term financial plan and asset management, there's some areas that are being worked on at the moment there, particularly around waste and the timber bridges, which was mentioned this morning, the importance of the timber bridges. Once those plans are fully developed, they will feed into the long-term financial plan, and we'll see what implications that has for the finances going forward. I've probably spoken for more than my allocated time.
Not at all.
Happy to take it.
Any questions? Councillors, any questions to Paul? Yes, Councillor.
It's a quick one. Well, yeah, look, thanks very much for your...
Councillor, please, just...
Yeah, thanks very much for your address, but I'm just curious then, who'd be interested in trying to access the council data, you know? I'm just saying, I realise you've got to have security and all this stuff, but I thought...
Through the chair, you'd be quite surprised at the number of attacks that happen on, or attempted attacks that happen on government organisations generally, including council here. So, yes, there is people out there for whatever reason try to hack into or disrupt, whether it be to gain access to send spam emails to other organisations or whatever. There's a lot of cyber activity out there. And as I say, we receive alerts quite often about the different scams that are going on.
Yeah, I can understand hackers trying to disrupt the system, but I'm just curious that who'd be interested in the, my rates notices. That's all.
Yes, you wouldn't really think that anyone would be overly interested in that, but there's people out there just trying to generally cause mayhem.
Thank you very much.
Excuse me, Councillor Berry.
Yeah, all with our iPads, are they going to get upgraded as well with the IT system?
Once again, that will be an area that we'll look at as part of the overall strategic plan, and I'm happy to seek feedback from councils on the iPads and what you think of them. I'm happy to have a discussion around that with you.
Yeah, I just have trouble accessing all the additional items. The agenda for the meeting's fine, but all the other stuff, it just doesn't handle it.
We are looking at, we only had a discussion the other day about the issue of how best to provide you with the information you receive, and we are looking at some other options, so yes.
Just to comment on what Councillor Forbes had to say, I presume hacking somebody's rate notice would be used for identity theft.
It could well be. I mean, I didn't specifically mention people hacking for rates notices, but obviously if people did get access to the system, that's why it's important we do have appropriate virus protection, firewalls and security in place. Yes.
Other question? Councillor Rogan.
Thanks, Mayor. Just Paul, this public, the public Wi-Fi, is that likely to cause any more, just I thought, any more security issues for the council once it's up and running properly?
Once again, through you, Mr. Mayor. I wouldn't think so. Generally, it's a fairly common practice for organisations to install public Wi-Fi, and there's usually some good security in place there. But it is something I'm happy to investigate.
Well, thank you, Paul, for your presentation, and I just need to comment to the work that you and in your area, Paul, with the staff are doing with the reducing the outstanding debt. And that's a big job. So it is to do with the money we owe, and I'm just reading there that's good work. I really appreciate the effort that's going in there. I wish you well in your endeavours, and as always, welcome, and we look forward to meeting you later in the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Councillors, that's the end of our public access session. The Merrill Minute, there's no Merrill Minute. Recommendations to be considered in the confidential section. Councillor, we do have confidential at the end of our... an item, so can I have a move and a second that we deal with this in confidential? There's item EC 015/18 to do with Cleaver Creek Bridge, upgrade design stage, Mount Road. Councillor Murray, thank you. Second place, Councillor Peters, I thank you. All in favour? Against? Carried. Move on to our reports, Councillor. The first report's on page 8, your hard copy. It's item COM 8/18 to do with the Ward Memorial Baths tender recommendation and property building to landscape coordinator. Heidi, welcome to our meeting as always. And I'll hand over to Heidi to present this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Good morning. Good morning, councillors and public gallery. As you're aware, our War Memorial Bath pool contract finished in April, and we looked at putting it out to tender for a variety of reasons, which included the changes to legislation, the way we operated, how we operate the pool, the fact that we had no contract management plan in place or key performance indicators to measure the performance, and we had no possibility to evaluate the performance at the end of the contract either. So we engaged LPG, local government procurement, to carry out the tender process, and the tender was advertised on the 29th of May in the Sydney Morning Herald, the Star, our website, and also the Tenderlink website. So there were over 1,100 electronic notifications sent out to businesses that could be interested or had the criteria to manage the pool. 89 organisations viewed the tender online, 6 organisations downloaded the tender documents, and we received 1 submission. We had an evaluation panel, which was made up of 2 staff from council and also an independent person from local government procurement also. The response was evaluated against the selection criteria, and it was based on their capability and capacity, marketing and promotion, services and community benefit pricing, and their financial proposal. Unfortunately, the submission that was presented elements of risk to council and didn't mitigate any of the risk that council already felt was surrounding the pool, and it was deemed not to be a commercially viable solution. So we've asked that you accept the confidential report and the recommendation from local government procurement.
Councillors, the report. Is there any questions to Heidi to deal with the report?
Just a quick one, Mr Mayor.
Oh, well, Councillor, yes.
Given the confidential, we were discussing this in more detail.
What it is, Councillor, to make everyone aware, and thank you for the question, Councillor. If you wish to discuss now, quite entitled to, but to do the report, it's clearly stated there, it's a confidential attachment. If you want to refer to anything out of that attachment, we need to move it to confidential while we're dealing with this recommendation now.
Okay, well, I move that we move into confidential.
Okay. Do we have a second? Councillor Broden, thank you. All in favour? Against? Carried. Okay, councillors, it's been moved and seconded. We're back in the open session of our meeting. We're still with item COM 818. The recommendations there, councillors, all in favour of the recommendation? Sorry, Mama Johns. Can I have a move and a second that we deal with this recommendation, please? Councillor Forbes, I thank you. Second, please. Councillor Sawyer, I thank you. The recommendations there, councillors, all in favour? Against? Carried. Heidi, thank you for the work that you put into there on that, Carried. Thank you. Okay, councillors, page 11 in your hard copy. Item COM 9/18 The Youth Memorial Hall, Maris Elf Pavilion by Care Transport Incorporated, Meals and Wheels. I've moved and second place to deal with this. Councillor Sawyer, thank you. Second by Councillor Murray, and I thank you. And I hand over to our CEO, please, to present this report.
Through you, Mr Mayor, thank you. This is actually very straightforward. Council owns both kitchens. The Meals on Wheels people were successful in gaining a grant to fit out the kitchen they currently use, which will become a council asset. So it was deemed very appropriate that we offered an alternate kitchen while those repairs were done. Thank you.
Question number C, to deal with the report, councillors? No? All in favour of the recommendations there? Against? Carried. Councillors, we move on to page 13 in your hard copy. It's item EC 013/18. It's to do with unnamed right of carriage on Mulwinter Road. Can I move in a second to deal with this one, please? Councillor Murray, thank you. Second by Councillor Peters, and I thank you. And I hand over to the engineering officer, Andre, to present this report.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Councillors, the process that we're going through here is just a standard process following a request by a member of the public to facilitate the naming of a right of carriageway so that they can be more easily found by emergency services and the like. So just commend the recommendation to you as stated, so we can go on the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Andre. Questions or comments, Andre, to deal with the report, councillors? No? The recommendations there, councillors, all in favour? Against? Carried. Councillors, page 19 in your hard copy, item EC 014/18. It's the National Sailing Expo Casino, 24th to 26th of July. I'll move to second here, please. Councillor Rogan, I thank you. Seconded by Councillor Berry, I thank you. And I'll hand over to a CEO to present the report.
Through you, Mr Mayor, I'll ask Kylie to
I'm sorry, Paul.
You're fine, it's not a large report, council, there's an officer's recommendation there that council builds the attendance of the Mayor Peter Petty at the Australian Livestock Market Association National Saleyards Expo and Casino today and tomorrow, and council's officer, Mr Mark, who is also attending that particular.
Questions, comment, councillors? All in favour? Yes, carried. Thank you. Page 21, your hard copy, councillors. Item EMV 15/18. Murray Darling Association 74th National Conference Annual General Meeting, Leeds, New South Wales. Deal with the delegation to that. Movement second there, please. Councillor Sawyer, thank you. Second by Councillor Peters, and I thank you. And I'll hand over to our CEO to present this report.
Through you, Mr Mayor, this is basically for council to determine who should be in attendance. It's completely a matter for council.
So councillors and Mr. CEO, thank you for that advice. That's clearly what it is. Whether it be the after recommendation, the mayor, deputy mayor, or another alternative if they can't attend, whichever way you want to go. So that's what we're looking at. Councillor Peters.
Yeah, I'd like to put up Councillor Murray. He sort of kept in contact with the Murray Darling Association. I used to be on the committee. I used to be one of the representatives on the side against it. But I'm a known too that you're doing other things. I'm trying to deal with a bloody drought.
Councillor, without trying to change your mind, what I'm after. Just Councillor Murray is under, or the mayor or the deputy mayor, if they're unavailable, then you go to an alternate delegate, and Councillor Murray be that delegate? Yes. Okay. Councillor Sawyer?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. As I submitted when the expressions were invited, that we should nominate the positions of mayor and deputy mayor so that if there are name changes, we don't have to go through this process. So that if we have one delegate, it'd be the mayor or the deputy mayor.
Yes.
If neither of those are available, whichever councillor wants to put his hand up, as far as I'm concerned.
Councillor, are you happy to change your motion a bit? You happy with that? Councillor Sawyer, you happy with that? Okay. Councillor Murray?
Yeah, I would like to, through you, Mr Mayor, I would like to move that, let's share this with you. I feel the mayor and the deputy mayor should step back from this. I've had a long history with, well, several years anyway, going back to Murray Darling. And one of the situations there in the Murray Darling was that I arranged for a conference to be held here in Tenerife. And that was a huge breakthrough. The reasons for that was, the reason I went down that road, I was aided by Gundawindi, Councillor White, and Bilal at that particular time. The reason I wanted to do that was that I wanted to, I guess, a bit devious here, the situation. I wanted to take the vote out of South Australia, because there's about a 300 vote there that you cannot combat. And if they were going to come to the conference up here, it would give them an insight into what's happening in the north here, as we are. This is also in my electorate. I also have one of the many important tributaries that contribute to that for Darling originates on my land. So I have a special interest in it.
I apologise,
But I think the mayor and the deputy mayor should step back from it.
what I do, because there's been a motion already, I'm going to deal with that. Okay, I'm going to second for it, and please respect me on this. I did let you speak there, but say all your argument if this does to do what you want to do. All right? So we'll deal with that, and I don't think we've got that right either yet. But Councillor Peters nominated the position of mayor or deputy mayor, or Councillor Ryan Murray as an alternative. Councillor Sawyer? No. Councillor Sawyer indicating different to that. We're trying to get this motion right, or any alternative to be named, or.
I don't have a problem, Mr Mayor, with who the alternate is. I think that we really need to have the position of mayor and deputy mayor nominated as our official delegates.
Yes.
From listening to Councillor Murray's feedback just then, I have concerns that he would have to declare conflicts of interest, because he's just said that the thing originates on his property. So we may have conflicts of interest at conferences. So I think that we appoint the mayor and or deputy mayor, and then if neither of them are available, we call for expressions of interest at the time to send as an alternate delegate.
Okay, what we're going to do, so, sorry Councillor, I'm going to ask, so this motion is up there now, so nominate the position of the mayor or the deputy mayor or any alternative if they are unavailable.
I'm comfortable with that.
Okay, so what we're going to do, I ask for a second, and we'll deal with this. Councillor Forbes, thank you. Councillors, without confusion, I will need to add that once we do this, then we need to nominate, because this conference is at the end of August, and for arrangements and everything, I'd like to make sure, and I'll put me in it straight away, I'm unavailable in August, okay, if this gets up. So I'll be referring to you, Councillor Forbes, if you're available, so then we'll deal with that. So I'm going to add this onto that.
Forgive me, Mr Mayor, but
Yes.
this is about appointing a delegate, not about going to the...
Well, it is, but right, we aren't going to come in August, right? That's on the 29th and 31st, and 1 week before, at a council meeting, then nominate a delegate. I'd rather tidy it up here. Would that be appropriate, Mr. C?
The more we get, the better, because of the combination changes and the early bird and things like that.
Yeah, determine the council delegates. That's part of this. So this motion is doing that, and asking for that. Okay. So it's been moved by Councillor Peters, second by Councillor Sawyer. Nominate the position of mayor and or deputy mayor or any alternative if the mayor or deputy mayor is unavailable. Okay? That's the motion. All in favour? Against? So you're against Councillor Rogan?
Yeah, I believe that I'd support Councillor Murray because he's had a long... Thank you, Councillor Sawyer. So I'm against it.
Yeah, that's all. Just record it. Do you want to record it against it? Yeah. Anyway, the motion's up. Okay. Council, now we need to determine that Council already indicated those are unavailable at the end of August. Councillor Forbes, are you available to attend? Yes, you are. Okay. Do we need a motion? We do. Okay.
Mr Mayor?
Councillor Peters, yes.
Yeah, one thing you need to clarify, are you going to have 2 representatives or 1?
It doesn't require 2, only 1, Councillor.
Because we always used to have 2. I was on there for a number of years, and there was always 2 representatives.
Well, to support what you've said, determine the council delegates. So it's up to council, if you wish to have 2. But just remember, council, where everything we do always has a cost. Whether it's needed, I'm not bringing the drop, but we need to take that into account. But that's the decision of council. There's silence on the line. Well, Or we're moving from the chair, but yes, councillor Berry.
I'd like to move, we're discussing a delegate now,
Yes.
first delegate. Okay,
Yes.
I'd like to move that we have one delegate and one alternate, in case a delegate can't make it, because it's not always possible.
But isn't that already what we've done?
Well-
Voted on?
No, we actually debated on the mayor or deputy mayor,
Yeah,
so I just want
and if the
to,
mayor and the mayor are unavailable,
yeah, so they're going to be the delegate.
right? Yes, but if they're not available or any alternate. That's how that reads. We've already voted on that and it's passed. So I thought that's basically what you just said. With respect, councillor, that's not too far away from what you're indicating anyway.
It's not, but I just wondered if the mayor was able to go to all the meetings, or it's just this one you can't go.
Councillor Matich.
I think, Mr Mayor, I'm just wondering if there's any funds available from Council of Professional Development. Maybe this could be seen as professional development.
Councillor, I apologise. I wasn't indicating that we couldn't afford to send to. All I was trying to say was we need to be aware that there is a cost if you're going to send two delegates. That's all.
But this would be a way of getting around it, Mr Mayor, because the funds are allocated for Council of Professional Development.
But once to repeat this, I'm not saying the funds aren't there to send to, but we always need to be aware, you know, about spending finances on sending 1, 2, 3, whatever.
I agree.
Yeah, that's all I was indicating. So anyway, councillors, we've dealt with the first one, that it's either the mayor or the deputy mayor, and if they aren't available, this is in the future as a delegate for the Murray-Darling, or alternate, okay? So Councillor Forbes has indicated that he's available to attend a Murray-Darling meeting at Leedon at the end of August. Do we need a motion? To say that Councillor Forbes will be attending. Councillor Sawyer, thank you. Second, please. Councillor McNish, thank you. We've got them. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you, councillors. Councillors, how are we travelling? You want to break for morning tea, or will we do one more?
Yeah, we'll smoke it.
Okay, can I have a motion to suspend standing orders? Councillor Ford, second to Councillor Berry. We'll have some morning tea. Okay, councillors, we'll bring our meeting back to order once again. Thank you for sharing morning tea. Councillors, can I have a motion to resume standing orders, please? Councillor Sawyer, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Berry. Thank you. All in favour? Against? Carried. Councillors, in your hard copy, move on to page 33. It's item GOV 54/18. It's a monthly operational report. Can I move and second it here, please? Councillor Rogan, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Berry. Thank you. And I'll hand over to our CEO to present this report.
Through you, Mr Mayor, thank you very much. There's a slight change in the monthly operations report this month. Under the 24 areas that we report on, under the headings, we've got a little a pie chart now with the percentage of complete, the percentage of things commenced, and the red, the percentage of things not done or something going wrong with them. So, because it was just a lot easier than trying to count the red, amber and green dots up each month. That's about the only change to it, and I'll take questions by exception. Thank you.
Questions to our CEO to do with the report. Councillor Berry.
Three questions, is it? On page 72,
Yeah. Okay, Councillor, yes.
With the illegal dumping and littering, do we keep a record of those number of places where they're dumped, or just a number? Because we don't.
So you're indicating in what area of the Shire that's happening?
No, not really, just how many people or how many illegal dumps there have been.
Okay.
I'll have to take that one on notice in terms of getting some statistics in monthly succession. I know that we do record each of those incidences, and that would be easy to find within our records. But if you would actually like those listed as an item, I can certainly pop that in next month's report.
I think that would be useful for, especially with the, with our dumping according to the next meeting. That, and I've got two other questions.
I'll allow that question, yeah, I'll allow that, yeah. To do with the report.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. The Chief Operating Officer, the curve on Mount Lucy Road, on top of the hill near the police towers on the northern section up there.
What page, councillor?
Sorry, page 129. Rewind to the curve on Mount Lucy Road, change 28 to 29, installing guardrail. I'm just wondering if that's done with grant funding, because I couldn't see any reason for that piece of road to be done.
Through Mr. Mayor, my understanding is that that would be done with the funding that's available to us through our various sources from the state government. I mean, we get block grants, we get repair grants, etc. So whilst it's indeed the effectively capital item, and that's what it is at the end of the day, I'm not 100% across whether, what was the precise trigger for fixing this particular problem, because as you know, the Mount Lindesay's got plenty of problems with it in terms of alignment. Why this one was sort of singled out as sort of to be done right now, I'm not, like I said, I'm not 100% across, but whether that was triggered by, I suppose some inquiries or some incidents or accidents there, I'm not too sure. We can certainly come back to you if that is desired.
Yeah, I would like an answer to that, because, like as you said, there's plenty of other places that are worse than that road, and that was just completed, and I never seen a problem. There were 3 accidents prior to fixing the road there. Yep. And they could have triggered something. And the other thing is, with the ceiling up there, the soft shoulders, I'm just wondering what's the problem there? You indicated there was a problem with the gravel, or so-called gravel, but along that road there, going back quite a few years, Main Roads, when they had it, they re-sheeted the whole length of the road and wasn't down for version one removed. That was all graded off because they had never packed it down. We had 5 or 6 inches of rain, and that was on the side of the road. A lot of that material would still be good, I presume, because it never been touched. Council given the road back to Ely. Somewhere about Leo Rock is, some of that material was used there, and it's been as good as any other section of the road, probably better.
Mr. Mayor, it's not so much the gravel that's the issue, Councillor, it's the construction methodology that was used at the time by our team. I mean, and I've had this discussion with our works manager, and we certainly had a discussion with the works teams. Certainly in my RMS days, when we construct roads, the normal and good practice is to take your material right out past the edge of formation where things drop off, and so that you compact right out to the edge, and then you use the grade to cut back so that you've got a solid, taper off from the edge of formation. What our teams have probably tried to do is to be, I suppose, extra cost effective, if I can just say that, trying to minimise the amount of waste and effort, so that they haven't sort of pushed things out past the edge of formation. So as a consequence, they haven't compacted right to the edge. So it is a compaction problem, it's a construction problem, but we need to change that in the future.
Thanks for that excellent answer. One more question. That was a good answer.
Is this your third one, councillor?
Yeah.
Okay.
With the composting issue of our tips there, it's on
which page, councillor, please?
143. Materials of red weed, etc. I think our council using that method, and it's been very successful. I'm not 100% sure it's out enough, by the way.
Mr. Mayor, this composting process is going to be something that we have to have a look at. Certainly, having been an ex-director of Armidale Regional Council, we looked after the waste, that was one of our portfolios, so I'm very familiar with the process that you talk about. and it is largely an anaerobic process, but it's a process that uses lactobacillus bacteria to help effectively break everything down, and it sits underneath covers for probably the best part of 60 days. So to keep the heat levels up and the like. So there is alternative processes out there, but we need to, I suppose, become a little bit more advanced in what we do at our transfer station before we get involved at that level.
Thank you. I was just pleased that Parliament was after that.
Thank you, Councillor. Any more questions to any of the directors to do with the report? And I say, Councillor Murray, yes?
I think, through you, Mr Mayor, I just want some clarification on the dumping. If I could refer that question to Councillor Baird. The dumps, are you talking about semi-permanent dumps along the road, or are you talking about people just dumping here, there and everywhere?
No, just people dumping rubbish. That was one of the concerns was raised to me with getting rid of vouchers, that people may use the roadside as dumps, as they've done in the past.
Yes.
And there was a couple of spots up there we were worried about when we first, a couple of years ago when we put our decosted going to the tip shop, and people did dump on the side of the road, but that was for a very short period.
Councillor, any more questions? Comment, Councillor Ignition?
Just a couple, Mr Mayor.
Yep.
Allow that to Chief Executive. How are we going with the recruitment of a horticulturalist?
Through you, Mr Mayor, the interviews were either on Monday or Tuesday. Monday? Tuesday? Monday.
So happy to answer that. The interview panel met on Monday and we interviewed 5 applicants for that. We have one more coming the following Monday, and after that there'll be a decision shortly, obviously a month or so period until such time as that person's put on. Once again, great field of applicants, and that's really good.
Quality was very good too, I hear.
Yes, Colin, that's very, 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 very good news.
Yeah.
Very.
You had room for one more very.
Just on the truck wash, I noticed in the report significant decrease in cattle numbers this year, and I think we can't just blame the drought. I think it's a trend. Where are we up to with the truck wash, and are the existing staff still working on that project? You know who I mean there?
Yes.
Through you, Mr Mayor, with regards to the cattle numbers through the facility, I mean, Kylie could talk about that if she wants to, but that being her area, I'll just concentrate on the truck wash facility itself. Now, that facility is progressing, albeit not at the rate of progress that I would like. And we are going to be having meetings with our consultant to just get a sense of how much of a delay we've got and what the issues are that have to be dealt with so that we can expedite this. I think I have said in the past that we've got one opportunity to go back to Infrastructure New South Wales and give them an update as to our program. We have not done that as yet, but the invitation is there, so I'll do that once after we've had the meeting with our consultant. And but certainly truck wash is on our agenda. It will be happening, albeit that it's a little bit delayed at present.
Thanks. Is the same consultant still working on the project?
Through you, Mr Mayor, yes he is.
Okay.
Councillor, I need to just for some clarity too, if you're referring to the cattle numbers in this report, the cattle numbers are in the quiet time of the year. It is normally quiet this time of the year as far as cattle numbers are through the yards.
Well, that's right, Mr Mayor, but when you have fortnightly cattle sales at the peak time, which was February, March this year, it's not a good sign.
Anyway, we'll get there. Any more questions, comments to do with the report? I'll go to Councillor Rogan and then come back to Councillor Martin.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. This a simple question is probably for Terry. Page 22, the bottom item on the sheet there talks about undertaking an audit of barriers to people and services accessing the Shire. And it's been in red for a couple of reports. And I assume that we're talking about not talking about roads because they're sort of are we talking about the barriers to people being like bus services and that sort of thing? I just don't really understand what that's about.
Through Mr Mayor, it's under the strategy for affordable transport options, and we are somewhat limited with our geographic location to improve that. So the strategy was to plan and lobby for affordable transport options and to undertake an audit of barriers to people and services accessing the Shire, including directions in the economic development strategy. So it was sort of half and half between, it was actually more probably to do with economic development and creating opportunities for better transport, but it also a little bit to do with the physical part of it as well. I'm not actually certain whether or not we're going to have any success with that, because at the end of the day it's going to get into numbers, and we're a low population area. So to increase transport, for example, the bus, not only would we need more throughput, but the towns north and south of us would need more throughput as well. And, although the population is going up, it's not going up so fast that you need to increase the services. So it's been read for a while, and it was addressed a little bit in the Regional Economic Development draft strategy. I forget the name of the lady that helped us with that. Jenny Rand. And I understand that our Manager of Economic Development has been speaking to Peter Sneakers about it, but I'd be surprised if we're able to get any movement on it.
Councillor Murray, you indicated the question to the report.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just going back on to the one that Councillor McNeish brought up about the consultant. I guess it's to the relevant director. Was this consultant re-employed on a new job, or is this an ongoing job that he's still employed on?
Through you, Mr Mayor, this consultant is the original consultant that was employed to help deliver this truck wash facility, so that he's continuing on under the original engagement.
Thank you.
Any other questions, councillors, to do with the report? The report said, councillors, all happy to receive a note? Against? Carried. Councillors, move on to page 34 in your hard copy. It's item GOV 55/18. It's 2018 Local Government New South Wales General Conference, submissions and motions. Got a move in a second here, please. Councillor Berry, thank you. Second by Councillor Sawyer, and a thank you. Councillors, the motions that are there, and thank you, Councillor Berry, for putting the effort into putting them together. Any questions, councillors? Comment? Councillor Forbes.
Yes, may I just, Councillor Berry, just one of these motions is proposing is a New South Wales Bill of Rights.
Councillor, microphone, please.
Sorry, you're up. So I'd just like you to sort of elaborate on that, because I'm not a constitutional lawyer or anything like that, but can you just elaborate and tell me no defence against statute law without Bill of Rights? I'm not aware of that at all, but in several pieces of legislation read the presumption of innocence. I'd like to know where the stand is about, that's all. And
well, the Native Vegetation Act, you've got to provide your innocence. The state government just presume you're guilty of that one, the way it's written. There's no savings commission with it to protect you from, you can't go back to common law. And there's I think the Water Act the same, there's a couple of other ones, there's one of the employment ones is exactly the same too. You have an employee on your property and he gets hurt, you're presumed guilty. It's just the way it's written, they don't exactly say you're presumed guilty, but you're going to provide all the evidence that you are, rather than prosecute you. And with the statute law, there is no defence against statute law. There's quite a few bits of evidence in that one. There's a couple of extreme pieces, but whatever the law says, that's what it is. It's not like common law. And I think the Land this week's got an article in there about that. It came up on the internet last night. Rapist murderers or something have more rights than farmers due to the biodiversity and the Native Edge Acts.
Councillor, one of you, if I can just ask, one of your supports, Councillor Forbes' question, one of your examples, you said the Native Edge Act, was that, did you say the Water Act?
Yeah, and the Water Act, I think it's the same.
Right.
Yes, we had a tragic incident at home last week due to the Water Act, which I won't elaborate on.
Good, thank you. Other questions, councillors, comments to do with these motions going to the conference? Okay, councillors, reports there in front of you, all happy to approve? In favour? Hands carried. Moving to page 37 in your hard copy, councillors, item GOV 56/18. What is it? Revocation of superseded council policies. Thank you, Dominic. I'll move to second here, please. Councillor Forbes, thank you. Second by Councillor Roden, and I thank you. And I'll hand over to our Chief Corporate Officer to deal with this report. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you very much, Mr Mayor. So the purpose of this report is to provide council with a recommendation that we actually revoke the policy for gathering information. The rationale behind revoking a particular policy is that it's already covered by the Records Act, the Evidence Act and the Interpretation Act. And one of the things that we've been trying to go through and review our policies is where a policy could have the risk of getting out of step with changes in legislation as to actually remove that. So to be applying with the legislation of which this particular policy is just a summary of that.
Questions to Kylie to do with the report? Councillor Roden, yes?
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Kylie, just for my, I've just been going through the old policy that's here, and I see it was re-adopted in just last year, 2017. So it's something that's been around since 2008 and re-adopted every 3 years. And just as recently as last year, and we want to get rid of that in preference of some government acts that go back to the 90s. I'm just wondering, that just doesn't seem sensible to me. But anyway, the list of forms here that council have, I'm assuming that they'll be all revoked, they'll be cancelled. I'm assuming that's what this is telling me. So are they, you mentioned that these will all be replaced or something by another council protocol, so I just like to know what the protocol is. Thank you.
No problem. So with, in terms of the re-adoption, we went through and re-adopted all of them in their entirety in terms of policies across council, with the view that we would go through and systematically review each and every one for its actual currency. In terms of revoking this with the legislation, whilst we have, similar to the Local Government Act of 1993, there are continual changes to those particular acts that tell us how we need to operate underneath them, and the ones referenced in this report are no different. Where we get into a challenging position, I guess, is if there are changes to those particular acts and we don't respond fast enough to amend our policy. So we always go back to the act, and that is the primary legislation that we use. If we're going to use that legislation as our guide, then it's a double handling, I guess, to have a council policy at the same time. In terms of the protocols, those forms and how we gather information, we still need to, as an administration, make sure that we've got the appropriate systems and processes to meet the obligations under that particular act. So that's why we're looking to revoke the policy. We will be meeting those obligations. When we're talking about a protocol, that's the instrument for us to keep reinterpreting that and make those changes and updates every time they happen and transmit that information to staff who need that. This policy has also been primarily used in the defence of claims and also complaint handling. So we have two staff who have gone through and reviewed this, who are primarily trying to comply with it.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to ensure that the protocols did ensure that we were still going to be protected against litigation and that sort of thing, because that was my understanding, the reason for having that policy in the first place.
I think with some of them, that's what we're going to review, that we've had a double up, a to be sure process, where we've had the legislation, we've tried to interpret that into council policy so everybody's on the same page. The risk that exposes to is if we're not continually updating those policies as fast as the legislation, they become out of whack, and we would always refer to the legislation and make our administrative controls meet those changes as best we can.
Thank you, Councillor, for your questioning. Thank you, colleague, for your response. Councillors, any more questions to do with the report? Okay, councillors, the report of officers' recommendations there. All in favour of the recommendation? Against? Carried. Councillors, we move on to page 50 in your hard copy. It's our start of our finance reports. Item GOV 5718, finance and accounts, period ended the 30th of June 2018. Welcome back, Paul, from the interchange bench. Early start, now you're back. And can I move in a second to deal with this report, please? Councillor Forbes, thank you. Second, please. Councillor Berry, thank you. And I hand over to Paul Dell, our finance manager, to present the report. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The finance report shows that our June cash balance at 30th of June was $1.550 million, trust account $321,000. There's a summary of investments as well in the report and complies with our investment policy.
Thank you, Paul. Councillors, questions to Paul to do with this report? No? Report's there. All happy to receive a note? Against? Carried. Councillors, moving to page 53 in your hard copy. Item GOV 58/18, capital expenditure report as at the 30th of June 2018. Once again, move to second here, please. Deal with this. Councillor Murray, thank you. Second by Councillor Sawyer. I thank you, and I hand over to Paul again.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This report outlines the progress of capital expenditure for the 30th of June 2018. You'll see on that report there's a number of items that weren't completed by the 30th of June, so we'll have to carry that forward over to the 2018-19 financial year, and we'll come back with a report on that in due course as to what is occurring.
Thank you, Paul. Councillors, questions to Paul to do with this report? Councillor Rogan.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Paul, just one question on the Shirley Park wall on page 57. It says it's delayed. I was just wondering if I could get an explanation of what that wall actually, its purpose is, what it does. I'm assuming the wall is normally used as a backup in case we have a water supply problem. We've got a drought happening and a few things, so I'm just wondering why it's delayed.
Through the chair, have it either take that on notice or refer it to Chief Warren.
Mr. Mayor? No.
Yeah, of course you can, Councillor.
Councillor Rogan, those wells were drilled in the drought about 2002. There was one between the Stony Creek bridges out there and the one in Shirley Park. They both pumped into the, well, one did and the other was found to be radioactive. That's what happened. The pump into the town water supply.
Thank you.
Any more? Thank you, Councillor McNish. Andre, did you want to? Yes.
So just a response to Councillor Logan and Councillors Mr. Mayor. The delay is associated with the actual equipment, the bore equipment itself. So the downhole pump is what's needing to be purchased, and just the exact stage of that I'll have to confirm, but there's nothing wrong with the borehole itself, as I understand. It was more to do with the equipment, the standby equipment. So a certain amount of money has been expended, and sort of the balance is to be expended.
Thank you.
Shirley Park, yes. Councillor, any other questions to the report? Councillor Berry, yes?
Just an accounting thing, Paul. When you've got in the year-to-date variance.
Councillor, what page are we working on?
Either page 55, 56, you've got
Oh,
items in red. What is in items in red to note? Just on the variance.
Through the chair, the items in red generally mean that we've gone over budget almost every more than what we had originally anticipated. That would generally be what that means. Yes.
Yep, good on.
That's one.
Yep. Councillor, any more questions to Paul? If not, all happy to receive and note the report. In favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Councillors 59, page 59, your hard copy. Item GOB 59/18, report on loan balances. First and second here, please. Councillor Sawyer, thank you. Second, please, Councillor Berry, thank you. And once again, I'll hand over to Paul to present the report.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. This report outlines council's loan balances as at the 30th of June 2018, and it shows that the balance of the principal outstanding was $7.69 million. This includes a new loan the council took out toward the end of last year of $3.45 million with the ANZ Bank to part fund the cost of the dam wall construction. And there's details of that in the report. And just reiterated, the council does intend to take out some loans this year in the 2018 financial year, so that's for our operation plan.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul. Question, Paul, councillors, to do with the report. Councillor Murray, yes?
Through Mr. Mayor. Why do we borrow, say, from ANZ as opposed to going to T-Court? Is that possible? Is that impossible?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, again, this issue this matter's been raised a number of times in the past, and it's something which we do hope to address in the near future. As part of the Fit for Future scenario, certain councils that were declared not fit for the future couldn't borrow from TCOP. And so, as I say, this is something now that the Fit for Future process seems to have been expanded. This is something that we do hope to address with TCOP and the government in the future. It is something on the agenda to try to address. I think probably the best course of action is to once again show this year as part of our audited financial statements that we're doing well financially, and then go back to the government and say it's time to change this so that we can borrow. Because it's just I don't want to get on my high sort of horse for the disadvantages councils that can do with some relief.
Yep.
And so.
And happy to, and Councillor, thank you for your question there. Happy to offer any support that you need to go down that road. I really mean that because it is important. Really important. Any other questions to Paul, councillors? To do the report? No? Report's there, all happy to receive and note, councillors? Against? Carried? Councillors, that's the end of our open reports. We move on to reports from delegates and committees. Page 62. First one's RC 17/18, to report from the annual general meeting of the Australian Rural Roads Group, held while I was in Canberra. Being the author of that, I'm happy to move that. I'll have a second, please. Councillor Rogan, thank you. Councillors, happy to take any questions on board there to do with that report? No? Reports there, councillors. Happy to receive a note. All in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you. Councillors, move on to page 68, your hard copy, item RC 18/18. Report from the local traffic committee meeting. Being the chair of that, I'm happy to move along those lines. If I can have a second, please. Councillor Sawyer, thank you. So again, councillors, if I inaugurate those meetings, happy to take any questions. Councillor McNish.
Got a phone call, Mr. Mayor. Apparently the Tenneville Saddler still has the witch's hat out the front.
I've seen, I have noticed that I've seen one, councillor. I'm not defending him, but I've no doubt that our rangers will be on to that. So thank you for noting that.
One now.
Sorry?
The new yellow one now.
Oh, is it?
Okay.
It's not a witch's hat. Got
Okay.
that one.
Thank you. No, that, I will get there. Any other questions, comment, councillors, to do with the report? No? All happy to receive a note? No? Against? Excuse me. Moving to page 81, your hard copy councillors. Item RC 19/18, it's from the Audit and Risk Committee meeting. I'll move the second here, please, to deal with this. Councillor Berry, I thank you. Second from Councillor Forbes, and I thank you. Once again, councillors, any questions to deal with this report? Councillor Forbes, yes?
Yes, Mayor, I'd just like, I'm looking at item on page 84, item CO 13/18, internal audit plan update. I just wonder if we could have a elaboration on what, what's it all about and an explanation of that at this stage. I asked for, if there is a plan, and a copy of the plan, that's all.
So I emailed a copy of the plan yesterday around to all councillors. So what happened, just for clarity, there was an admission in the last lot of agenda items to go to the audit whereby the page that had the actual plan on it was removed. The manager of governance actually gave a hard copy of those to all of the attendees of the meeting, and then the audit and risk management committee actually discussed that item. And to the best of my knowledge, there was no changes other than a discussion about the possible timing of items. I'll be guided by those members of that committee thing.
Does that answer your question, Councillor?
No, not really. I mean, I just can't get it up here. I didn't see that item on the just can't get it up. That's all. I just wanted an outline of what the plan is, so I could see it here at the council meeting, so I could ask questions towards it. So I understand there is one of the audits is going to be a recruitment and was it the retention audit?
Yep.
But that's not going to be done for another 12 months. Initially, it was going to be 2 years down the track, wasn't it?
To the best of my knowledge, the years that things fitted into at the request of the committee. So remembering, of course, that the audit committee instructs me when they're to be undertaken. I didn't believe that there was any change in the actual years. There was just a conversation, and we got some guidance from the committee that should be done sooner at a particular time. So I think the first one was at the very beginning of next year. So from my memory, without having it in front of me, we have fraud control, which we're still in the process of getting a scope, which was actually due the end of last year. I can't remember what the other one is, but the other one's due as soon as the budget's adopted in the following 12-month period.
There's the fleet light management.
Fleet, yes. Fleet
Human tendering.
What's that?
Human tendering, yep. So that was the one that I sent out yesterday. It's okay, because it tells the date on that one, I think is July 2019 for the commencement of the June. The commencement of the scope of works for the human resource component.
Yes.
July 19,
July.
and it's due to be completed 31st of October 2019.
And so if there was questions or concerns, then it would be up to the audit committee to update that and change the resolution.
Yes, my concerns was that I've been raising that issue with the audit risk committee since about October last year on the crossing, and I was hoping that we would have had an audit of that area sooner rather than later. I must say, initially the plan was it was going to be done around about June 2020, which is about over 2 years down the track. It was at that stage. It was brought forward by about 12 months at the audit risk committee, but I personally would like to see it being brought even further forward. So that's just something I'd just like to note at this council meeting.
Noted, Councillor.
And having said that, the audit and risk committee obviously provides recommendations for council to consider. If council has any concerns that they don't think are addressed, they can by all means tell that committee will request a review. By the same token, obviously council adopts an operational plan and a budget, and should council wish to extend the scope of that, there's nothing actually to stop that. It's just not necessarily the recommendation of that committee.
Yeah, so with that, the plan we have though, is when we've got fleet life management and the fraud, it's just my view that I would like to think that the recruitment retention one, should be given a higher priority than the other ones. Because I believe that area's never been audited at this council. So, but I would just like to think that we could reorder that plan and and rejig it and bring that one forward even further than it was originally intended 2 years out, and now it's down to 12 months out. I'd like to even see it brought even further forward, that's all.
That will be up to council to take the advice of the audit committee, whom I'm not actually on the audit committee, if that makes sense. So whatever I'm directed to do, so you can either adopt the minutes or you can actually do a request from this meeting that the audit committee reconsider and provide their rationale or something along those lines, should you wish, or you can provide a direction to staff by way of a motion to undertake. As an audit.
Okay, well, basically, I'd like to see the council, redirect the audit risk committee, rephrase that plan.
To do with this item that we're speaking about, councillor?
That's it, yes. To deal with that item we're speaking.
Okay, we're going to deal with this, and thank you, Colin, in your position, giving the advice to the councillor in a way forward. So councillor, you deal with that, so get the wording right, as no one puts it up here, redirect to the committee to bring forward the recruitment and
retention, I think, I don't have it in front of me here.
Yep.
Retention report, yeah. I'd like it done by the end of this year.
Okay. Motion's up there, councillors, do I have a second? Councillor Murray. Councillor Forbes, your motion, do you wish to speak to the motion?
No, that's...
Councillor Murray, been seconded, would you like to speak to the motion?
Well, this is relevant, maybe it's not relevant, but I'm wanting to know, why did we not get a hard copy of this rather than sending it on the iPad? Why did we not get a hard copy here in front of us so we can look at it?
To do with this very item, I'm sure that there would be, correct me if I'm wrong, Colin, a hard copy. We do live in electronic age, I'm sorry, but there would be a hard copy available, yeah, I'm
So
sure.
through the chair, the hard copy was made available. These are the minutes of the Audit and Risk Committee. After the Audit and Risk Committee considered that in the agenda, so the council hasn't been given the Audit and Risk agenda, so the full paper document, of which is accessible. And so there was a request yesterday to provide an update of the copy, which we sent out. That's the only reason we sent it out. So in terms of considering it, it's not really for consideration. So these are the minutes of that meeting that was considered by the Audit and Risk Committee.
Well, I suppose my question is, through you, Mr. Mayor, my question is, yes, it's on the iPad, but I'm not sitting 24 hours a day on my iPad, and therefore it would have been good to have a hard copy here. That's that question I'm asking. And do I want to speak on that? No, I'm fully... Oh yes, could I just ask one question?
Of course you can, councillor.
The cost and the time, what is the cost and the time involved in this? Through you, Mr. Mayor.
Yep. To Colin.
With these audit committees. These audits, sorry.
Unfortunately, that really depends on the scope, so how long, how many questions you want the internal auditor to address, and how much information you want them to gather. So they can be as little as $5,000, as much as $200. So it depends on, and that's part of the audit committee's charter, is to provide a recommendation to council on what the audit committee thinks that the risks to our operation might be. The scope, council has an existing budget allocation, which is in an report of $50,000 to undertake their audit program, and of that we've got one carry forward item, which was the fraud control, and 2 audit schedules for this year. So we may well be able to, depending on the scope approved by the audit committee, actually undertake all of those audits for that sum, or alternatively, if the scope is much larger than that, we might actually be able to achieve.
And forgive me, but when you say scope, I mean, does that mean that is it how far you're going back with these audits, or?
Order, please, councillors. Order. Sorry, Councillor Murray.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Does that mean how far you're going back in, or what specific details they want out of that? Is that what you're telling me?
So all of the above, councillor, so you could choose to do say a desktop review and just look at processes and pick 3 advertisements and say tick those off, or you could pick 3 advertisements and follow the entire process through from recruitment, so check all of the paperwork that's there. You could go back over a time series. All of those things will have an impact on the cost. So it's what you decide you're looking at, which is what we rely on the guidance from the audit committee about what is the most benefit for council in managing any of these risks, is how broad or narrow that audit scope should be.
So,
Councillor, no, you're right, just bear with me. I just want to get us back on track. Be aware, councillor, we're dealing with a motion being moved by councillor Forbes, second by councillor Murray. Questions or comment to do with this, we're dealing just with this item right now. So I'm trying to help you, so please refer to that. I'm trying to help Kyle with you too.
And
That's all we're dealing with now.
I respect that, Mr.
Yep.
Mayor, to again.
Yep.
So this is where I'm pointed now, to this amendment, motion,
Yep.
and does Councillor Forbes have to point out what he wants within that particular one?
Well, I'll come back to, yeah, good question. And then councillor Forbes, because he's a mover in closing, I'll go back to councillor Forbes and I'll ask that question, councillor. Councillor Sawyer.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. With the approval of the mover and the seconder of that motion, I'd like to see the IT systems already included in that escalation or bringing forward, because I would have thought, based on what Paul said this morning and my own knowledge of IT systems, that's as equal or greater risk, if not a greater risk, than the human resources retention audit. So I think that should be included in that motion if they're approved.
Moved and second, you happy with that?
Yes, I wouldn't have any problem with accepting it.
So you're bringing that forward to be completed by the end of the year? Yes. Okay. Second, are you happy with that?
Thank you.
Okay. So we don't need another motion, need the move and second, happy with that add-on. Thank you, councillor Sawyer. Councillor Rogan, you've indicated the question.
Thanks, Mr.
And to repeat myself, it's to do with this motion that we're doing. Yes?
I'm aware of that, and this is, it's just that I'm wondering whether the wording is correct, that's all. On the email, the item, or the audit area that's specified here is actually human resources and workforce development, so I'm just wondering whether that shouldn't read human resources and workforce development instead of retention and
Fair question, councillor, yes.
that's all.
Could I just bounce off your colleague? Is that, would that be correct?
Yes, it would be correct.
Yeah.
Include it as per the existing.
So move and second, you happy with that? Okay. Right up. Thank you, councillor Rogan. Prove you do read your stuff.
I do.
Yeah, my word. All good. Thank you. Okay, councillors, we need to move on. Any more questions to do with this? We'll deal with. Did you, councillor? No?
No, I was going to comment, but mine are really with the jump box. No, what you sent.
Okay, we'll deal with that one.
No, it's fine.
No, it's fine. Okay, so the motion's there, councillors. Moved by councillor Forbes, second by councillor Murray. Direct the audit committee to bring forward the human resources and workforce development audit and the information technology audit. From June, sorry, no. To be completed by the end of 2018. Councillor Forbes, you happy with the couple of add-ons and what we've done there?
I am indeed.
Now I'll go to you, Councillor Murray, to do with the question that I was going to tidy up now with Councillor Forbes' closing comment. No, well, you mentioned it. I said I was going to, I'd save.
My mind has
save-
moved on.
Okay. Did you know that, Councillor Forbes, what he was speaking about? And I said in your reply, I'd let you reply.
Did you just repeat it?
No, he can't. He's all good.
Mine's gone.
Anyway.
Oh, well,
Yes.
It's I think it was to do with reinforcing what you're going to put forward.
Oh,
Do you want to be specific about what
Okay.
request?
Okay, thank you. Councillor Forbes, your motion, right reply.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, the reason why I'm concerned, committed to having an audit of the HR area is the fact that, from my experience in the workforce, it's always been stated that human resources are most our important asset. And my experience when I first joined the mining industry is that had to sort out the problems with recruitment of apprentices because they're causing us nothing but industrial disputes for every year. And the recruitment process there was, put it bluntly, was a real Mickey Mouse outfit. So we got that sorted out, and there's no more industrial disputes over recruitment selection of about 50 apprentices every year. So I ensured that we had openness, transparency, and accountability, underpinning our recruitment process. And now, my experiences in the Navy, one of my last jobs in the Navy was part of the Officer Selection Board, and for a great deal of that time I was the President of the Selection Board. And I spent about 6 weeks every 6 months touring all the mainland capitals, doing interviews, and get back and send out about 60 odd letters of offer to prospective candidate people who are interested. And but invariably, when the letters went out, I'd get a request from the Minister's office. Please explain why, on a couple of occasions each time, why so-and-so and so-and-so was not going to an offer. And I had to be prepared to open up my books and be transparent, say why they didn't get it, etc., etc. So, been my experience is that I've been prepared all the time to be open and transparent with all my process, and that's all I'm asking for, the council, which is a publicly funded organisation. So that's all I'm asking for this idea. And as for the terms of reference, I've been looking at going back about 2 years. That's all. I don't want to go back 50 years, but in the last 2 years, to make sure our processes are above and beyond, any sort of problems, and we're recruiting the best possible people that put their hands up. Thank you.
Right, Councillor, thank you. Councillor, motions in front of you there, all in favour of the motion? Against? Carried. Thank you. Councillors, you move. So I apologise. That's out on now the recommendation from the officers there, the Minister of the Audit Risk Committee, all in favour? Against? Carried. Thank you very much. Councillors, we move on to item RC 20/18. Still with reports from committees and delegates, New England Joint Organisation. Excuse me, being in attendance there, I'm happy to move that way with this report. Got a second, please. Councillor Sawyer, thank you. Councillor, have you taken any questions there between myself and the CEO being in attendance there to do with that meeting? No? Reports there, councillors, all happy to receive a note? Against? Carried. Thank you. Councillors, move on to page 88, your hard copies, item RES 6/18. It's to do with the council resolution register. Can I have a move and a second here, please? Councillor Roden, thank you, and seconded by Councillor Murray. I thank you, and I hand over to our CE to present the report, please.
Through you, Mr Mayor, it may be served better in a time to answer by exception.
Questions? The CE, yes, Councillor Roden.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. I've just got to find it.
No comment.
It was to do with the grant funding opportunity that came about when I said that the grant had been applied for.
Councillor, can I just stop you there? What area in the resolution register, please, just so we can all follow? Sorry, Councillor.
No, I'm going on the top of my head. Page 17.
Thank you.
So grant funding opportunity has evolved, and the grant was submitted on 4th of May, and this is to do with the amenity of the main streetscape. That motion I brought up once before about murals, but it was amended to read source funding to try and revamp the facade and the original veranda and that sort of stuff on the building on the corner.
Yep.
So I'm just wondering whether that grant money was part of that building better community things that was put in as a bulk submission,
yep,
or whether it was a separate heritage type fund. Yep. And what are our chances of getting that?
Fair question, councillor?
Through Mr Mayor, I was speaking to one of the members of Economic Development Committee engagement yesterday about it. I haven't got all the details, and I'll have to get back to you with that. The original grant was part of a package that was for the, and there's about 3 grants that sound very, very similar, and I always get it confused. There's 1 federal and 2 state. I'll have to take that one on notice, but I know that the initial amount of money was put in as part, I think, of the 596,000 on round 1, which was knocked back, which was then included in round 2 ad infinitum. And we're just waiting to, well actually I think we got the results of that in the last couple of days, but I'm not up to speed with that yet. Does that answer your question, Councillor White?
Yeah, thank you.
Other questions to see to do with the council with the resolution register? No? It's there, councillors, all happy to note. Favour, against, carried. Councillors, that comes to the end of our normal meeting. We have no notice of motion, done with the resolution register. Someone please move to remove the confidential, please. Councillor Sawyer, thank you. Second, please, Councillor Forbes, I thank you. Okay. Councillors, it has been moved and seconded that we're now back in open, of the open part of the meeting and dealing with the confidential part of item EC 01518, Creole Creek Bridge Upgrade Design Stage, Mount Lindsay Road. The officer's recommendation has been endorsed that council accept the tender of the SMPC Australia Limited for the Creole Creek Bridge Upgrade Design Stage of the Mount Lindsay Road project in the amount of $252,301.50, including GST. With that being the last item, councillors, I'll close the meeting and thank you all very much for your spirited bidding attendance. The meeting's ended. Peace and harmony.